Effortless living is all about mind control, but not the way you might think. Do you realize how life-changing it is to be able to stay calm in any kind of situation, composed in any kind of situation, and strategic no matter what life is throwing at you? And the reason why I like meditation so much is because it helps you think more clearly. All you do is slow down the mind by slowing down the breathing. Stop breathing so shallow. Deepen the breath. Fill the body with oxygen. And calmly think about the next steps or adjacent possible. A lot of people talk about mind control and having the ability to control somebody else's mind, but the best form of mind control is actually being able to control your own mind. If you can control your own mind, you basically have a superpower. And most people cannot control their thoughts day by day. It's actually a very difficult thing to do. And that's why most people can't meditate, or they don't even try to meditate, because when they do try to meditate, they just give up because they get frustrated because their mind is racing constantly. And it's too difficult to stop thinking, to stop the racing thoughts. So what they do is they don't try. They don't do anything in regards to meditation and slowing down the mind and being more perceptive and taking things in and being more clairvoyant. They're not allowing themselves to receive any epiphanies or hunches of any kind because their mind is so busy with the programming, so busy with the indoctrination, so busy with the advertisements. Now, my whole point with the effortless living thing was pretty simple. All it is just slow down. That's all you have to do, is just take it easy and slow down once in a while. We're all in this hustle culture together. So if we don't set aside a little bit of time to slow down, we're doing ourselves a huge disservice. Because there's going to be times where frustration is going to creep in, life events happen, unexpected things pop off, and then sometimes it feels like life starts piling on everything all at once. You know, life will hit you with the 1-2 combo, the 1-2 with the uppercut. So you got to think about maintaining your composure. So let's use life as a metaphor for boxing. Sometimes you'll get hit with a jab, right? Just a little jab in life. Maybe a right cross will come through. You might get hit with an uppercut. Now, if you're tensed and clenched and all stiffened, you're going to get hit with all three of them shots. You're going to take too much damage in life. But say life throws a jab, the right cross, and the uppercut, and you're relaxed. You're slipping punches. Your body is fluid, flexible. You might get caught with the jab, or you might, evade the right cross. You might make the uppercut miss. Or maybe you parry the jab and you set up your own shot. But the punches are not really landing that flush. Look at some of the best defensive fighters of all time. Now, I'm not just talking about Floyd Mayweather here. I'm talking about James Toney. I'm talking about Pernell Whitaker. These guys are so relaxed in the ring. They're some of the greatest fighters to ever step in there. Some of the most difficult opponents are these guys, because they're able to maintain their composure. Now, even if they get rocked, as they seldomly do, they might take a punch, but they maintain their composure. It's the same thing in life. Life is all about maintaining composure when the uppercuts and the left hooks and the haymakers come at you. Because life will throw a haymaker at you. But you can mitigate a lot of the damage. Because we're going to get hit. We're going to take some hits. But what did Sylvester Stallone say? He said, it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Whatever you're trying to manifest, you got to have a calm mind to do it. It's like trying to play chess when you're all flustered and you're fuming and flipping out. You think you're going to be able to think strategically in that state of mind when you're all bent out of shape? And you always have a choice in how you want to respond to any kind of outside stimulus. And sometimes we don't make the right choices. I'll admit it, I made the wrong choices. But can you imagine trying to play a chess game while you're upset and you're complaining about all the wrong choices you've made, you're not going to be able to focus on the game. You can't get your head in the game like that. And some people are upset with their spouse or their boss at work. Your head is not in the game. You can't think strategically when your brain is being occupied with that nonsense. Life is a strategy. Life is a chess game. And you need to have this strategy in life. You ever have those times where multiple things seem to be going wrong all at once and you just want to get in your car and scream, shout, let it all out? Most of the time when that happens, you're already in your car driving in traffic or something like that. But do it. You feel like you need to put on an instrumental and rap as loud as you can for like 5 minutes. Do it. It's actually a good release valve. And in my opinion, it's a step in the right direction. Because when you bottle things up, you become stifled. And that leads to apathy and it leads to numbness, which is an even bigger problem. If you let it sink that far, you're causing more issues. And we don't want that, man. What we do want is a release valve. So we can actually laugh at some of this shit. You gotta laugh at some of this shit. Because in reality, it's not about maintaining such a high vibrational state that you become unmovable to any kind of drama in your life and start attracting more opportunities. It's not just that, but it's actually about enjoying life because you have a thick resolve. Now, a lot of people are trying to attain things. They're trying to reach goals. We're trying to get to a better place in life. I'm one of them. Most people are. If you're not, you're probably not watching this channel. You're probably watching some Mr. Beast video or something like that. But when you're trying to level up, you often have to step into a new realm where challenges are going to become more difficult, increasingly difficult, depending on how big your goals and aspirations are. You got to be able to withstand more. You have to put yourself in situations that are a little more nerve-wracking, a little more challenging. And that's actually a good thing. It's one of those things that you don't realize until you get there, until you overcome the challenge. Now just think about running a marathon. I've never run a marathon, but it's a challenge that's been on my mind for a couple of years now. And it's a challenge that I want to try. I wonder if I could work my way up to it. It takes a lot of work. I would love to try it. Now, one of the issues is I've had knee problems in the past, which kind of makes me hesitant. But really, it's mind over matter. And I know I was never a long distance runner, but something in me is like, you know what? The challenge, it compels me. It's something that I perceive to be incredible to overcome. Now, I'm not going to do some David Goggins ultra marathon freakish shit, 100 miles or whatever he does. But maybe a half marathon or a full marathon would be good. Because you never really know what you can accomplish until you apply yourself, right? And it's not until you actually cross the finish line that you get it. That moment where every minute of training, every sore muscle, every ounce of exhaustion was actually worth it. Not just for the merit or the bragging rights of finishing the marathon, but for the act of actually completing it and what you had to go through to get there. That's the true reward. It's the same thing with public speaking. You know, a lot of people fear public speaking, like Seinfeld said. He had that joke where he said, "We'd rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy." Pretty much everyone has that same fear of public speaking, even in small groups of like maybe 15 to 20 people. And I used to do it. And at first it kind of made me uneasy. You know, you have a group of people that are staring into the windows of your soul, right? But here's the thing. I survived it and it taught me something. Because when I worked in solar, I'm saving the planet and I'm saving my wallet one roof at a time. And I'm doing pretty solid, right? My numbers are up. The sun is my best friend. My district manager is like, Kevin, you made a lot of improvement. Congratulations, you're a team lead now. I'm like, okay. I finally feel like I'm getting somewhere, right? And then that's when they drop the hammer on me. They're like, oh yeah, team leads do trainings. You're up on Friday. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, got to do a training on Friday. It's Wednesday right now. I got 48 hours. I got to work. I'm like, wait a minute. I've got 48 hours to go from field marketer to TED Talk keynote speaker. But I'm like, okay, let's go. It's going to be a challenge, and I'm kind of nervous, but I'm like, all right. I'm not exactly sweating it yet. But at this point, I'm not really a prepper. I'm more of a fire ready aim type of person. I don't plan everything strategically, and neither did I have the time to plan any of it anyway. But this whole thing, I mean, it had me kind of spinning my wheels, you know, because it's the first time I'm doing it. I'm out in the field all day. I'm pitching green energy, and in my mind, I'm like, I have to do 15 to 20 minutes of field marketing wisdom to bestow on the group. And I don't know what I'm about to do for that amount of time, honestly. I'm literally like, while I'm driving, I grab a coffee stained piece of paper. I'm jotting notes. I have all these notes down on this piece of paper. And while I'm driving and stuff like that, I'm thinking about things that I've read in some of my books that I have that I could incorporate into this talk that I'm going to do. And honestly, a part of me is thinking, you know what, I should just take a day off so I can have more time to put this thing together. But I'm thinking, no, nobody else would do that. Why would I do that? And obviously, I'm just in my head too much. And I'm carrying this overthinking around with me while I'm at work. So Friday hits, right? I grab the marker. I go up to the whiteboard and I write SAW in bold letters. System, attitude, work ethic. I turn and I face my 17 victims of boredom. That was my biggest fear, is like, I don't want to bore people to death, right? And all these people, I mean, it was new trainees, managers, team leads, and they're just looking, right? They're just looking on. And I'm thinking at this point, I'm like 30 seconds, 45 seconds into the talk, and I'm like, well, systems, yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I got for systems. And while I said that, I'm like, why did I even say that? Because what I had jotted down on that piece of paper, everything went out the window. I just totally forgot. And I glanced over that whole letter in the acronym. And I'm like, so at this point, I'm like, now I feel awkward. Literally just stomped the system acronym right into the ground. And I was supposed to segue into the attitude part. But I just kept going. I'm like, okay, so attitude. I talked about Daniel Amann's ants, which are automatic negative thoughts. We have automatic negative thoughts all the time. So I went on that, and I said something like, your mindset is your money. Don't waste it on limiting beliefs. And I see a couple people nodding and some people staring blankly. So I'm probably about 2 minutes in, and I'm feeling the nerves, right? Putting the cap back onto the marker every time I write something. And I remember thinking while I'm doing that, I shouldn't be putting the cap back onto the marker every time. Just overthinking everything, right? And then I moved on to attitude and work ethic. And I told them about a time when I pitched solar to the cop that was called on me by one of the homeowners. And they start to laugh, and I'm like, oh, okay, so they actually like that one. Now, I'm thinking at this point was kind of a turning point, because I'm like, okay, so just relax, right? Now I'm doing okay. Not Steve Jobs or Les Brown by any means, but not a total faceplant either. That's when it really hit me, because it's not about nailing it on your first try. That's what I realized. It's about showing up, fumbling a little bit, realizing that the world just keeps spinning no matter what you say. Even if you make a mistake and you glance over the S principle and you're like, you know what, that's all I got for that one. But I was out there worrying, right? Like, I got to be some top tier presenter, public speaker. And I didn't have to have some $1 million talk. I just needed to be myself and be helpful. So looking back on that years later, I learned that I should have leaned into those trainings a little bit more and had fun with them. Because I was so obsessed with my numbers back then that I was treating the trainings as a chore instead of like a playground. I imagined if I incorporated more stories and cracked a few jokes, maybe even admitted, hey, I'm just a special ed kid. If I can do it, you can do it too. Excuse this poor spelling on the board. At the end of the day, it's a valuable experience being in those situations. And you can maximize the value that you receive in any situation according to how you engage yourself in that situation. So basically, with any challenge in life, don't overthink it. Just be sincere. Don't be afraid to fumble a little bit. Throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. That's the fun part, the game of it. And if you find out how to trust yourself, others are going to trust you too. Look, life, of course, is going to keep throwing those punches. But it's up to you to decide how you're going to respond to it. You stay flexible, stay fluid, stay composed, and above all else, stay in control of yourself. That's how you win the game.